This is a bullying tactic.
It is.
You either take our offer or we'll go a different direction.
Ladies and gentlemen, right here, right now, turn up the volume because you're about to hear the other shoe drop. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the airing of Grievances. My name is Eric Raymer. That's Robert Grieve, and we're grateful that you've taken time out of your day to join us for ours, whether you're visiting us and maybe even chatting live with us during the premiere on Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. in the Mountain Standard Time or anytime throughout the week. We say thank you for taking time out of your day. And boy, howdy, we got a great one for you today. But before we do anything, it's our tradition to say happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, my dear friends. Happy Saturday. Get those keyboards warmed up.
Absolutely. We're going to justify your keyboard activities today. I promise you that. We've been doing this for more than 3 years now, Rob. And we've seen a lot of really egregious stories. This one might just take the cake. This is unbelievable.
It really is.
And I'm going to tell you this.
You can't even make this stuff up.
No, you can't. Stay to the end, because at the end of this, we're going to tell a story about a car that's been here at our shop for over a year, which begs a lot of questions right there. But at the end of this video, we're going to drop the most unethical thing that happens, and you're not going to believe it. And that's just the beginning.
It's really just incredible. But
Yeah.
we got to set the story up for you.
Absolutely. Rob, stage is yours.
Okay. So you bring your vehicle in for repairs. We disassemble the vehicle. We write a thorough repair plan on it. Sometimes that can take hours, if not days, depending on the amount of damage. We do a bunch of research as to how the manufacturer wants that vehicle repaired and certain parts that they require and procedures for welding if necessary, so on and so forth. There's a ton that goes into developing a repair plan for a vehicle, so we have a good sense of what it is going to cost to repair the vehicle. Sometimes the vehicle becomes a total loss because the extent of the damage outweighs the value of the vehicle.
Sure.
And the insurance company has it in their policy that they have every right to do that.
They can determine whether or not.
We don't total vehicles. Insurance companies would make that decision.
Right.
And if that happens, many shops have fees attached to that because we have an investment in it.
Sure.
And so we're going to call them total loss fees, all right? And what are they? What do they include? Well, we have a lot of people involved in disassembling the vehicle. We have people involved in cataloging what needs to be done. We have part storage and wrapping up delicate parts to store them properly so they don't get damaged.
Sure.
A ton of admin back and forth with the insurer on your behalf.
Yeah.
And emails. It just keeps going on and on and on. And sometimes, depending on the nature of it, we have to set it up and measure it so we know what the damage is there. That's a very time-consuming process on a very expensive piece of equipment by very specially trained people.
Yeah.
There can be quite a bit that goes into these total loss fees. One of the things is storage. If the vehicle's deemed a total loss, we're going to charge for several different things. And like in this particular case we're talking about, the hatch was broken, and so we had to crash wrap the rear of the vehicle. Which,
That's putting like a film over it to keep it watertight.
yeah, it's got a bunch of holes now. It's got no taillights in it. It's got no bumper in it, and there's a big gap where the tailgate is because that was smashed. So we take this film and wrap the vehicle in it,
Got it.
like shrink wrap, if you will.
Okay.
And so we had to do that. That's going to be on the bill, and just stuff that we incurred to get to this place.
Right.
One of the other things is storage.
Yep.
So as I was just getting to say. So if it's taking up a bay inside the shop that we're not making any money on, we can't fix. Maybe it's your car because that's taking up the spot.
Right.
Or it's outside waiting. It's taking up a spot that we can't bring necessarily somebody else in because we don't have the room.
Yeah, you've got also a limited number of parking spaces.
Right, and we're not a storage lot, we're a repair facility.
Right.
So, all that said, it can get expensive, these total loss charges, depending on how long the process takes. Because there's a daily charge.
It shouldn't take very long, though, should it?
Not generally. Not generally. So, in this particular case that we're talking about, it was an Audi hit in the rear, and the damages came in somewhere around $24,000 to repair this thing back to pre-loss condition and undetectable, all the rest of that.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense.
It was more than the value of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
But the insurer disagreed.
That's common.
It is common. But they decided to hold their ground, and the vehicle's repairable, and you don't need to do all those things, even though we had plenty of documentation.
Yeah.
And so we talk to the guest and say, at this point, if they're dug in, you need to invoke the appraisal clause part of your policy. Now, we've got videos on the appraisal clause. But in short, what that is the consumer hires their own company, which we point them to people to do that.
Sure.
The insurance company has to hire an outside appraiser,
Right.
and they get together on the value of the loss.
Yes.
Okay, is it fixable, not fixable? If it's fixable, how much? If it's not, then it's totaled. We're done here.
Should be simple.
Should be simple. If those two appraisers can't get together, then they both elect and decide on an umpire.
An umpire.
And the umpire looks at the whole situation and reads all the documents and goes through all the stuff, asks as many questions as they like, and they come up with the final decision
Okay.
that is binding to all parties.
Sounds like an umpire.
You, the consumer, and your insurance company.
Okay.
There's the decision. In most every single time, the decision comes back what we said it was to begin with.
Funny how that works.
But invoking the appraisal clause, sometimes the insurer likes to drag their feet.
Say it's not true.
And in this particular case, they dragged their feet for over a year.
Over a year.
And during that time, several adjusters came, and we had to uncrash wrap the thing, go over the estimate with them, recrash wrap the vehicle, to hear that another month later another adjuster's coming to look at it. So we do that all over again. And my people are spending time with those people, having them understand everything and why it's, written the way it's written.
Yep.
And just keeps going on and on and on. So the appraisal clause was invoked. Two people got together, needed an umpire. Doesn't always need an umpire. Sometimes these two can get together.
Right.
Sometimes it needs an umpire.
Yep.
Umpire makes his decision. Decision's final and binding. It's in the guest's favor. The vehicle's a total loss. This is not something that we didn't know a year before.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
So, insurers are doing everything they can to not pay.
We have
That's what this whole thing is about to begin with.
over
But they continue.
190 videos in our playlist, the Airing of Grievances playlist, of story after story after story where insurers don't want to pay.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. But we present them with the total loss charges for a year of storage and then all the stuff that went along with it.
Right.
And that number was a pretty hefty number. $30,000.
I can believe that.
$30,000.
And you got employees
got-
doing the runaround, you got all the admin back and forth,
Jumping the car.
not to mention taking up space
All
where
that.
somebody else could be served.
Right. And this is a common thing.
Yeah. Well,
Unless you bring your vehicle to a direct repair for the insurer, then part of their contract with the body shop is they don't get to charge,
right.
the storage and certain other things.
You said it's common, but it's not common to go a year.
No.
Got it.
That it's very rare. They didn't like the charges, if you can believe that. Even though they're the ones that caused them.
They're driving the bus.
Yeah. This is not something that we caused. And the guest was kept informed throughout the whole process.
Are your charges posted
Yes. And
for
they're
anybody to see?
Yep, and they're also part of the contract that you sign when you drop off the vehicle. And most insurers have no problem paying them. But they're not $30,000.
Right.
They're not sitting here for that long.
Right.
And, that, even to me, that's a very large money.
Of course.
Amount of money. Next thing you know, I get a phone call. And I'd like to share this phone call with you, which is not something I normally do. But I want you to really hone in on this phone call and listen to the dialogue back and forth.
Yes.
So,
And listen to the tone
and the tone.
of the dialogue.
Yes.
Got it.
I think that you'll find, well, I'm going to let you decide. So let's go ahead and listen to the tape.
How are you?
A lot better before I opened up this claim.
I'm so sorry.
No,
You've had
it's
lots
just-
of people help you out with this one.
Right, yeah, before we continue, just want to let you know the call is being monitored, recorded for quality assurance and training.
Same thing on this side.
Awesome. So as I believe Heather was her name,
Yeah.
I kind of told her, obviously this thing's a mess and, it's unfortunate that it's been with you guys, for this long. On our end, I can extend the offer of $12,900 on the vehicle. And that kind of tops out where we would be at on it. If you guys are willing to accept it, I can have it, picked up by tomorrow. If not, then, obviously we'd have to have the adjuster have a conversation with the customer and go over the options and all that good stuff.
Well, that's not even half.
I understand that. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's bold.
The only reason, one of the, other reasons and why the offer is where the offer is, obviously, we have to look at it from a business decision.
Maybe we should have done that a year ago.
Maybe. But unfortunately, I can't speak on the prior handling of the claim. I can speak with where it's at now. And again, I understand the vehicle's been with you guys for a long time.
It's not only that the vehicle's been here a long time. We've gone through how many different adjusters coming out and re-reviewing this car and re-crash wrapping it and just going back and forth. Then it goes to, the appraisal clause side of things, bunch of questions and all the rest of that through this whole thing. And it ends up exactly where we said it was from the very beginning.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's not a good look for us on our side. I could confidently say that. But again, how it was prior, charges. I'm not sure how accurate they are.
Hang on 1 second. Let me just ask Heather real quick, all right? Hold on 1 second.
Sure, no problem. Let me see if I can get a hold of my manager right now, because with an amount that high, you obviously have to, it has to have prior approval.
I understand. None of this is easy.
No, not on one.
It could have been a whole lot easier, a year ago. I mean, it would take you all day to read all the notes on this thing.
It took quite some time, and there was multiple times where I scratched my head.
I mean, folks, there are 5 different adjusters out here looking at this thing.
Yeah, it looks like 2 separate IA companies, and then obviously there was an umpire that was involved because of the appraisal clause that was invoked and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Here, rather than keep you on the phone, I'll give you a call back here probably in about 5 or 10 minutes.
That sounds fine. I'll be here for you.
And then, okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Okay, we're good with that. We'll go ahead and set it up for pickup for the 15th, and I should have it out of there no later than tomorrow.
Okay, and I'm assuming the guest has released it. Do you know?
Typically, it won't come to us unless if it's released.
Let me just check with Heather real quick, if I could.
Okay.
Hold on.
Perfect.
Yes, the vehicle's released.
Okay, sounds
All right,
good. I'll go ahead and
and-
get it set up. Like I said, they should be there no later than tomorrow.
Everybody feels as though that I was being incredibly fair. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when you look at the merits of the claim, and obviously the duration and all that good stuff, it's definitely a mess, and I think it definitely could have been handled better. And
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that cut the bill in less than half. I just want agreement that
Yeah.
you find that to be fair.
Yeah, we're good on our end. Like I said,
Okay.
it is what it is. So, unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do to change, our end on, what happened, and likewise.
Other than some learning.
Yeah, I don't know if what happened on this one could be taught or not. It is what it is,
Yeah.
So I'll get this one set up, and this one will be officially out of your guys' hair by tomorrow.
God bless you. Thank you so
All
much,
right, thank
sir.
you. Take
got
care.
it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Rob, it sounds like you came to an agreement.
Well, let's recap on a few things.
Okay.
Okay? First, we both knew that we were being recorded.
Yes.
He told me, phone's being recorded. I told him, same thing on our end. He said, great, or something along that line. He
That-
acknowledged.
That protects both sides.
Okay. He offers $12,900 to settle the case.
Now, they owe 30.
The bill is 30.
He offers 12.9.
12.9.
It's got to be tough.
Then he says, if that's not going to work, I'm going to have a conversation with the guest. Well, what could that mean? First off, this is a bullying tactic.
It is.
You either take our offer or we'll go a different direction.
Right.
And what he's talking about in that different direction is he's going to call the guest and say, we think their bill is too high, and we're going to take whatever we don't think is reasonable out of your settlement that we're going to pay you for the vehicle.
Which screws the guest.
Big time.
Yeah.
I did not want this to happen after all this time with the guests, so
Right.
I want to try and come to an agreement. That, by the way, them taking charges they don't really like out of the settlement is a very common thing.
Yeah.
We hear this quite often. I never get to see if they actually did it or not,
Right.
but there are some insurance companies that'll say, look, we're not going to even settle the case until you go down to the shop and pay what we don't think is fair.
Right.
And then we'll pay what we think is fair. Which, don't ever buy into that, because what they've just done is taken that off their books like nothing was ever wrong.
Right.
And it's not trackable now. So don't do that. So you know, he talks about we got business decisions we have to make and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, where were you a year ago?
And at the same time, he admits, yeah, this does look pretty bad on us. And
And the vehicle has been there for a very long time.
yeah, keep in mind, this is not the first person that Rob has talked to about this case. And he's a supervisor of how many? 5?
I don't know. I don't know.
Several adjusters came out.
Yeah, several different adjusters,
Right.
and they were, I don't know all the details of all those people that came out, but there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
We just kept revisiting the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, look, we had to go through the appraisal clause to come to the conclusion that we already knew at the beginning and was decided at the end is the same thing.
Right.
I said, this thing dragged out. What else did he say? He says, let me, I offered him 50%.
50%.
And I did that for a lot of reasons, mostly to protect the guest,
Yeah.
somewhat to protect us. Some insurers will go as far as to abandon the vehicle. And I haven't gotten into those laws yet, but that's a bad scene.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you as the consumer, you sign a contract with the shop, whether it's us or any other shop,
Right.
and you're responsible for all this stuff.
That's right.
So if they don't want to pay, it lands up on you. That's why you can invoke your appraisal clause.
Right.
So what do we do? Invoke the appraisal clause again because they don't want to pay the charges?
Yeah.
I was done with this
Yep.
and wanted to get the guest on their way, let them close the chapter in the
Yep.
book. This guy says he wants to close the book on the claim and just be done with it. I offer him 50%. He says, I got to go talk to my manager. Manager comes back and approves the amount.
All right.
So now keep in mind they offered 12.9 and we're going to settle at 15. Not a horrific deal. Did you hear anything in that video, in the audio, that would lead you to believe that there was any kind of stress or misunderstanding
No, in fact,
or anything other than we want to bring this thing to a conclusion and be done with it?
it sounded very much to me like two reasonable gentlemen were talking about an issue that they finally found agreement on. And once that agreement was done, I believe you even asked, do you agree this was a fair settlement? And he said not once but twice. Yeah, we're on board with that. We're good with that.
And his supervisor was good with it.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, right now, turn up the volume because you're about to hear the other shoe drop. How long ago, Rob, was that phone conversation?
That was in February of this year.
February. That's, by my count, pretty close to 6 months ago.
6 months ago.
Got it.
Almost to the day.
All right. And you got an email.
We did get an email.
You're not going to believe this.
They want the money back. They want the money back. They want the money back. Money back. Money back. Money back.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for next week. We're going to talk about what? They want their money back? You're not going to believe what they did, and we'll give you the nature of the email, who the email came from, how we got there, and I know this is kind of a cliffhanger, kind of a tease, but you got to come back next week because this is
You just won't believe it.
It's the new thing.
If you could believe all this already, 6 months later,
Yep,
after we wanted to close the books and be done,
we agreed. We and you agreed.
and now they've put the guest in jeopardy. And with that, I'd like to wish you a happy Saturday. I hope you have an amazing week. We're going to prep for next week's video. because it's going to blow your doors off.
We hope you never have to go through any of this.
God bless you. Have an amazing week. See you next Saturday.